Imagine standing at the edge of an abyss. Below you, there is darkness, an endless pit of weakness, fear, and self-doubt. You feel the pull of gravity, the temptation to surrender to the weight of your limitations. You are not alone. Every man, at some point in his life, stands on this precipice. The world may whisper to you that this is where you belong, that you are powerless against the forces that shape your life. But deep within, there is a flicker, a faint but resolute light, an inner strength waiting to be unleashed. What does it take to step away from that abyss? What does it take to transform yourself into someone who does not merely survive but thrives? Today, we embark on a journey, not just any journey, but one that will take us through the harshest of trials, the deepest reflections, and the most profound transformations. These are the lessons that will guide you from weakness to strength, from uncertainty to unshakable confidence. This is not just a guide. This is a map to reclaim your power. There are no shortcuts here, no quick fixes or easy solutions. These are timeless principles, rooted in the wisdom of philosophers, warriors, and men who have walked the path of struggle and emerged victorious. If you are ready to walk that path, let us begin. And remember, this is not about achieving perfection. It's about embracing the process, learning, growing, and becoming stronger every step of the way. Lesson 1. The weight of responsibility. Responsibility is the cornerstone of strength. To take responsibility for your life is to declare that you are the author of your story, the architect of your destiny. But responsibility is heavy, and most men shy away from its weight. The truth is, avoiding responsibility is the very essence of weakness. It is the surrender of your agency to external forces, to circumstances, to the whims of others. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is where responsibility begins. It is not about controlling the world around you, but mastering your response to it. When you embrace responsibility, you cease to be a victim. You become a creator, an active participant in your own life. Consider this. When something goes wrong in your life, how often do you blame others? How often do you look for excuses outside of yourself? This is the instinct of weakness, the reflex of the powerless. To become strong, you must turn inward. You must ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What can I do now? Responsibility is not just about taking ownership of your actions, but also your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often reminded himself that he could control only his mind, not the external world. This insight is powerful. It means that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. You can choose strength over weakness, clarity over confusion, action over paralysis. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of blaming external factors for your circumstances. The economy, politics, other people, they all seem to have a hand in shaping your life. But when you focus on these things, you give away your power. You place your destiny in the hands of forces beyond your control. True strength comes from reclaiming that power, from accepting that no matter what happens, you are responsible for how you respond. This is not an easy lesson. It requires brutal honesty with yourself. It requires the courage to look at your life and admit where you have been weak, where you have avoided responsibility. But this is the first step to becoming strong. The more you take responsibility, the more power you gain. The more you own your choices, the more you realize that you are not at the mercy of life. You are its master. This is the foundation of strength, the bedrock upon which everything else is built. Without responsibility, there is no progress, no growth, no true power. But with it, there are no limits to what you can achieve. Lesson 2. Embrace discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It lulls you into complacency, weakens your resolve, and traps you in mediocrity. To stop being weak, you must actively seek out discomfort. This is a counterintuitive lesson, especially in a world that constantly sells you comfort as the ultimate goal. Comfortable homes, comfortable jobs, comfortable relationships. But comfort breeds stagnation. If you want to grow stronger, you must step out of your comfort zone and into the crucible of challenge. The ancient Stoics knew the value of discomfort. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, would deliberately practice voluntary discomfort. He would sleep on the ground, wear simple clothing, and deprive himself of luxuries, all to remind himself that he could endure hardships. This practice, known as premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, was a way to prepare the mind for adversity. By willingly embracing discomfort, Seneca strengthened his resilience. He knew that true strength comes not from avoiding pain, but from facing it head-on. Consider your own life. Where have you sought comfort at the expense of growth? Perhaps you have stayed in a job that no longer challenges you because it feels safe. Maybe you have avoided difficult conversations with loved ones because you fear conflict. Or perhaps you have neglected your physical health because the discomfort of exercise is too daunting. These are all forms of weakness, and they all stem from a desire to stay comfortable. But here's the truth. Discomfort is where growth happens. When you push your body beyond its limits in the gym, you become stronger. When you confront difficult emotions instead of suppressing them, you become more emotionally resilient. When you face your fears instead of running from them, you become courageous. Discomfort is the forge in which strength is made. There is a powerful concept in Stoicism known as amor fati, the love of fate. It means embracing everything that happens to you, even the painful and uncomfortable experiences, as necessary parts of your journey. Instead of resisting discomfort, you learn to welcome it, to see it as an opportunity for growth. This shift in mindset is transformative. When you stop fearing discomfort and start embracing it, you unlock a new level of strength. Discomfort is inevitable. You cannot avoid it, but you can choose how you respond to it. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the more resilient you become. And the more resilient you become, the less you fear discomfort. It becomes a cycle of strength, a positive feedback loop that propels you forward. So, what can you do to embrace discomfort in your life? Start small. Take cold showers. Wake up earlier than usual. Push yourself harder in your workouts. Engage in difficult conversations that you have been avoiding. Challenge yourself to learn a new skill or tackle a new project that scares you. Each time you do, you strengthen your resolve, your resilience, and your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. Remember, discomfort is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. Embrace it, and you will grow stronger. Lesson 3. Master your mind. Your mind is both your greatest ally and your greatest enemy. It has the power to propel you to greatness or to hold you captive in the chains of weakness. To stop being weak, you must master your mind. This is no easy task. The mind is a complex and powerful force, constantly bombarded by external stimuli, emotions, and thoughts. But mastering your mind is the key to mastering your life. The Stoics were masters of mental discipline. They understood that the mind is the seat of all power. As Epictetus said, "You are not disturbed by things, but by your view of things." This is a profound truth. It means that the events of your life do not have the power to affect you directly. It is only your interpretation of those events that causes you suffering. When you master your mind, you gain the ability to control your interpretations, to see things clearly, and to choose your response with intention. The first step to mastering your mind is to become aware of it. Most people go through life on autopilot, reacting to their thoughts and emotions without questioning them. But to become strong, you must become conscious of your mind. You must observe your thoughts, question them, and challenge them. This is the essence of mindfulness, a practice that the Stoics engaged in long before it became a modern trend. Mindfulness is not about emptying your mind or achieving a state of bliss. It is about becoming fully present and aware of your thoughts and emotions without being controlled by them. When you are mindful, you create a space between stimulus and response. In that space lies your power. You can choose how to respond instead of reacting impulsively. This is where true strength lies, in the ability to choose your response, no matter what life throws at you. But mindfulness is not enough. You must also actively train your mind. Just as you train your body through physical exercise, you must train your mind through mental discipline. This means developing habits of thought that empower you rather than weaken you. It means cultivating a mindset of strength, resilience, and clarity. One powerful practice for training your mind is the Stoic exercise of dichotomy, of control. This practice involves separating the things you can control from the things you cannot. The Stoics believed that the key to a peaceful mind was to focus only on what is within your control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, and to let go of everything else. This practice is liberating. It frees you from the anxiety and stress that come from trying to control the uncontrollable. Another powerful practice is negative visualization. This involves imagining the worst-case scenario, not to dwell on it, but to prepare your mind for it. When you visualize the worst, you remove its power over you. You realize that even if the worst happens, you can handle it. This strengthens your mind and reduces your fear of the unknown. Mastering your mind is a lifelong journey. It requires patience, persistence, and practice. But the rewards are immense. When you master your mind, you gain control over your life. You become the captain of your ship, steering it through the storms of life with strength and confidence. Lesson 4. Cultivate discipline. Discipline is the bridge between weakness and strength. It is the foundation upon which all progress is built. Without discipline, even the best intentions are meaningless. To stop being weak, you must cultivate discipline in every area of your life. Discipline is not about punishment or deprivation. It is about creating structure, consistency, and focus. It is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. This is the essence of strength, acting with purpose and determination, regardless of your emotional state. The philosopher Aristotle believed that excellence is a habit, not an act. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This insight is crucial. It means that strength is not something you achieve in a single moment. It is the result of consistent, disciplined action over time. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you strengthen yourself. Every time you follow through on your commitments, you build your character. Every time you push yourself to do what is necessary, you reinforce your willpower. Discipline is especially important in a world that constantly tempts you with distractions and instant gratification. We live in an age of comfort, convenience, and excess. But these are the very things that weaken you. They erode your discipline and make you soft. To become strong, you must resist these temptations. You must prioritize long-term growth over short-term pleasure. This requires self-control. It requires the ability to delay gratification, to say no to the things that weaken you, and to focus on the things that strengthen you. This is not easy, but it is necessary. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It is like a muscle that grows with use. One way to cultivate discipline is to create a daily routine. Structure your day in a way that supports your goals. Prioritize the things that matter most and eliminate distractions. Be consistent in your habits, even when it's difficult. Over time, this consistency will build momentum, and discipline will become second nature. Another way to cultivate discipline is to set clear boundaries. Know your limits and stick to them. Whether it's in your diet, your work, or your relationships, set boundaries that protect your discipline. This is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about creating an environment that supports your growth and keeps you focused on your goals. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not something that people will praise you for. It's often hard, boring, and unappreciated. But it is the foundation of strength. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of your impulses, your emotions, and your circumstances. With discipline, you are in control of your life. Remember, discipline is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every day, strive to be a little more disciplined than you were yesterday. Over time, these small improvements will add up to massive growth. This is how you become strong, one disciplined action at a time. Lesson 5. Face your fears. Fear is the greatest enemy of strength. It is the force that keeps you small, that holds you back, that convinces you to stay in your comfort zone. To stop being weak, you must face your fears head on. You must confront them, challenge them, and ultimately overcome them. Fear is a natural emotion. It is a survival mechanism that has kept humans alive for millennia. But in today's world, fear often manifests in ways that no longer serve us. We fear failure, rejection, uncertainty, and the unknown. These fears can paralyze us, preventing us from taking the necessary risks to grow and succeed. The Stoics had a profound understanding of fear. They believed that fear is rooted in our attachment to things beyond our control. When we fear losing something, whether it's our health, our wealth, or our reputation, we become slaves to that fear. The key to overcoming fear, according to the Stoics, is to detach from the things that cause it. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or apathetic. It means recognizing that your worth is not tied to external things. Your strength comes from within, from your ability to face whatever comes your way with courage and composure. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is a powerful insight. Most of our fears are not based on real threats. They are based on imagined scenarios, worst-case outcomes that may never happen. When you realize this, you can begin to challenge your fears. You can ask yourself, is this fear rational? Is it based on reality? Or is it a product of my imagination? Facing your fears requires courage. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act despite your fear. When you face your fears, you take back your power. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fears, that they do not control you. One of the most powerful ways to face your fears is through exposure. This means deliberately putting yourself in situations that trigger your fears. If you fear public speaking, for example, start by speaking in front of small groups. If you fear rejection, start by putting yourself in situations where rejection is possible. The more you expose yourself to your fears, the more you desensitize yourself to them. Over time, they lose their power over you. Another way to face your fears is through visualization. This is a practice that many athletes and performers use to overcome performance anxiety. By visualizing yourself succeeding in the face of your fears, you train your mind to respond with confidence instead of fear. This is a powerful tool that can help you build mental resilience and prepare you for real-life challenges. Facing your fears is not easy. It requires vulnerability, courage, and persistence. But it is essential for growth. Every time you face your fears, you become stronger. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought possible. You expand your comfort zone, and in doing so, you expand your potential. Remember, fear is a natural part of life. It will never go away completely, but you have the power to choose how you respond to it. Will you let it control you, or will you confront it and overcome it? The choice is yours. Lesson 6. Cultivate resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. It is the capacity to endure hardship, to recover from setbacks, and to keep moving forward in the face of difficulty. To stop being weak, you must cultivate resilience. This is the quality that will carry you through the toughest times, the storms of life that threaten to break you. Resilience is not about being invincible. It's about being adaptable. It's about bending without breaking, about finding the strength to continue even when everything seems to be falling apart. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that life is unpredictable and often harsh, but that we have the power to choose our response to it. This is the essence of resilience, the ability to maintain your inner strength no matter what happens. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is a profound statement about resilience. It means that obstacles are not just things to be overcome. They are opportunities for growth. Every setback, every challenge, every hardship is a chance to become stronger, to develop your resilience. Consider the metaphor of the oak tree. In the face of a storm, a weak tree might be uprooted, but the oak stands firm. Its roots are deep, its trunk is strong, and it bends with the wind but does not break. This is resilience. It is the ability to weather the storms of life without losing your strength or your resolve. But how do you cultivate resilience? How do you develop the ability to bounce back from adversity? One way is to change your mindset. Resilience is as much a mental trait as it is a physical one. It begins with your perception of adversity. Do you see challenges as threats, or do you see them as opportunities for growth? When you shift your mindset to view obstacles as stepping stones rather than barriers, you become more resilient. You develop a sense of agency, the belief that you have the power to overcome whatever comes your way. Another way to cultivate resilience is to take care of your physical and mental health. Resilience is not just about grit and determination, it's also about self-care. You need to have the energy and strength to endure hardship, and that comes from maintaining a healthy body and mind. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, and mindfulness practices are all essential components of resilience. Building a support network is also crucial. Resilience does not mean going it alone. It means having the strength to ask for help when you need it, to lean on others when times are tough. Your relationships can be a source of strength, providing you with the encouragement and perspective you need to keep going. Finally, resilience comes from experience. The more you face adversity, the more resilient you become. Every time you overcome a challenge, you build your resilience muscle. You prove to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws at you. This creates a positive feedback loop, where each success strengthens your confidence and your ability to handle future challenges. Remember, resilience is not about never falling down. It's about getting back up every time you do. It's about knowing that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you have the strength to rise again. Lesson 7. Cultivate self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation of strength. It is the belief in your own worth, the the recognition of your inherent value, and the commitment to treating yourself with dignity and honor. To stop being weak, you must cultivate self-respect. This is not about arrogance or ego. It is about having a healthy sense of self-worth, about believing that you deserve to be treated with respect, both by others and by yourself. Self-respect is closely tied to self-discipline. When you respect yourself, you hold yourself to high standards. You do not tolerate mediocrity in your actions, your habits, or your relationships. You demand more from yourself because you know that you are capable of more. This is the essence of strength, the belief that you are worthy of greatness and the commitment to pursuing it. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-respect. They understood that a man who respects himself is a man who is in control of his life. He does not allow others to dictate his worth or his actions. He is guided by his own principles and values, not by the opinions of others. But self-respect is not something that is given to you. It is something that you must earn every day through your actions. You earn it by keeping your promises to yourself, by living in alignment with your values, and by treating yourself with kindness and compassion. Consider how you speak to yourself. Are you your own worst critic, constantly berating yourself for your perceived failures? Or do you treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend? Self-respect begins with self-talk. The way you speak to yourself shapes the way you see yourself. If you constantly tell yourself that you are weak, worthless, or incapable, you will start to believe it. But if you speak to yourself with respect, with encouragement, with belief in your own strength, you will start to embody that strength. Another key aspect of self-respect is setting boundaries. When you respect yourself, you do not allow others to treat you poorly. You do not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or abuse. You have the courage to stand up for yourself, to say no when necessary, and to walk away from situations that do not serve you. This is not always easy, but it is essential for maintaining your self-respect. Self-respect also involves taking care of yourself. This means prioritizing your health, your well-being, and your happiness. It means making time for yourself, setting aside time for rest, relaxation, and self-care. When you respect yourself, you do not sacrifice your own needs for the sake of others. You recognize that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you make sure to fill your own cup first. Ultimately, self-respect is about believing in your own worth and acting in a way that reflects that belief. It is about holding yourself to high standards, treating yourself with kindness and dignity, and demanding the same from others. When you cultivate self-respect, you cultivate strength. You become unshakable, grounded in your own worth, and immune to the opinions and actions of others. Lesson 8. Develop emotional mastery. Emotional mastery is the ability to control your emotions rather than letting them control you. To stop being weak, you must develop emotional mastery. This does not mean suppressing your emotions or pretending that they don't exist. It means acknowledging your emotions, understanding them, and choosing how to respond to them. The Stoics were masters of emotional control. They believed that emotions are natural and unavoidable, but that we have the power to choose how we respond to them. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the essence of emotional mastery, the ability to choose your response to your emotions rather than being ruled by them. Emotional mastery begins with self-awareness. You cannot control your emotions if you are not aware of them. This means paying attention to your emotional state, noticing when you are feeling angry, sad, anxious, or frustrated, and identifying the triggers for these emotions. Once you are aware of your emotions, you can begin to manage them. One powerful tool for emotional mastery is mindfulness. Mindfulness involves observing your emotions without judgment, allowing them to come and go without being swept away by them. When you practice mindfulness, you create a space between the emotion and your response. This gives you the opportunity to choose how to respond, rather than reacting impulsively. Another important aspect of emotional mastery is reframing. This involves changing the way you interpret a situation so that it evokes a different emotional response. For example, if you are feeling angry because someone insulted you, you can reframe the situation by seeing it as an opportunity to practice patience and self-control. This shifts your emotional response from anger to calmness. Emotional mastery also involves letting go of the need to control everything. Many of our negative emotions, such as anger, frustration, and anxiety, stem from a desire to control things that are beyond our control. When you let go of this need for control, you free yourself from these emotions. This is not about being passive or indifferent. It is about accepting that there are some things you cannot change and focusing your energy on the things you can. Developing emotional mastery is a lifelong practice. It requires patience, self-awareness, and a commitment to growth. But the rewards are immense. When you master your emotions, you gain control over your life. You become less reactive, more resilient, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Lesson 9. Cultivate courage. Courage is the willingness to act in the face of fear. It is the ability to move forward, even when you are scared, uncertain, or vulnerable. To stop being weak, you must cultivate courage. This is the quality that separates the strong from the weak, the brave from the timid. The Stoics believe that courage is one of the 4 cardinal virtues, along with wisdom, justice, and temperance. They saw courage as essential to living a virtuous life, because without courage, you cannot act on your principles. You cannot stand up for what is right, pursue your goals, or face adversity with grace. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite fear. This is an important distinction. Many people believe that courage means not being afraid, but this is not true. Courage is about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It is about acknowledging your fear, but not letting it stop you. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate courage is to practice vulnerability. Vulnerability is the willingness to be seen, to be open, to be honest, even when it is uncomfortable. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to share your true self with others, to take risks, and to face rejection. But vulnerability is also the source of strength. When you embrace vulnerability, you build resilience, deepen your connections with others, and create opportunities for growth. Another way to cultivate courage is to take small steps outside of your comfort zone. Courage is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. The more you practice courage, the more confident you become in your ability to face your fears. Start by taking small risks, doing things that scare you just a little bit, and gradually work your way up to bigger challenges. Over time, you will build your courage muscle and become more capable of facing larger fears. Courage also involves standing up for your values, even when it is difficult. This means having the strength to say no when necessary, to stand up for yourself and others, and to speak out against injustice. It takes courage to live in alignment with your values, especially when those values are challenged by others. But this is the essence of strength, the willingness to stand firm in your convictions, even in the face of opposition. Remember, courage is not about being fearless. It is about being brave enough to act, even when you are afraid. Every act of courage strengthens you, builds your confidence, and moves you closer to becoming the person you want to be. Lesson 10. Embrace impermanence. Impermanence is the understanding that everything in life is temporary. To stop being weak, you must embrace impermanence. This means accepting that nothing lasts forever, neither the good nor the bad, and that change is an inevitable part of life. The Stoics were deeply aware of the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the fleeting nature of existence, reminding himself that death is a natural part of life. This reflection on impermanence is not meant to be morbid. It is meant to be liberating. When you embrace the impermanence of life, you free yourself from attachment, from the fear of loss, and from the desire to control things that are beyond your control. Embracing impermanence also means living fully in the present moment. When you understand that everything is temporary, you stop taking things for granted. You appreciate the beauty of the moment, the people in your life, and the experiences you are having. This is the essence of gratitude, the recognition that life is a gift and that every moment is precious. But impermanence is not just about appreciating the good moments. It is also about finding strength in the face of adversity. When you embrace impermanence, you understand that even the most difficult times will pass. This gives you the strength to endure hardship, knowing that it is not permanent. It allows you to face challenges with grace, knowing that they are just temporary obstacles on your journey. One way to embrace impermanence is through the practice of memento mori, the reflection on death. This is a Stoic practice that involves reminding yourself that life is short and that death is inevitable. This is not meant to be a source of fear, but a source of motivation. When you remember that your time is limited, you are inspired to live fully, to pursue your goals, and to make the most of every moment. Embracing impermanence also means letting go of attachment. This does not mean becoming detached or indifferent. It means recognizing that everything in life is temporary, and that clinging to things, whether it's people, possessions, or experiences, only leads to suffering. When you let go of attachment, you free yourself from the fear of loss. You become more adaptable, more resilient, and more at peace with the flow of life. Finally, embracing impermanence means being open to change. Life is constantly changing, and resisting this change only creates frustration and weakness. When you embrace change, you become more flexible, more adaptable, and more capable of navigating life's ups and downs with strength and grace. In conclusion, stopping being weak is a journey that involves cultivating self-discipline, mental resilience, emotional mastery, and courage. It requires you to face your fears, embrace discomfort, and live with purpose and integrity. By following these 10 lessons inspired by Stoic philosophy, you can build the strength you need to navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace. Remember, strength is not something you are born with. It is something you develop over time through consistent effort and practice. So start today and keep moving forward one step at a time.